I will say, no N-word in the movie. I was surprised. I thought we were going to get a white person saying the N-word.
I mean, I will say, not to get ahead of ourselves, but I feel like it's a little toned down.
It is. We also get the F slur, though, so we got at least something going. You know,
got something going.
Something to look forward to. Welcome back to the Uncultured Pop Culture Podcast. My name is Brandon, and with me, as always,
is David. That was a bad time to take a sip of water.
That's okay. I'll cut it down and make it sound like you missed no time at all.
And then I'm still gonna say bad time to take a sip of water.
Yep, that's just permanently in there, unfortunately. We've got a very special episode for you today. This is an original created by me. When we were originally planning out the podcast, we had the Oscars, and The Apprentice was nominated. And I was like, I kind of want to watch that. I've heard it's supposed to be pretty good. So we were like, okay, then what's the theme going to be? And I was like, oh my God, Kanye West pairs perfectly with Donald Trump, and he has an album with gold on the cover. And then we were like, what do we write for the theme? The theme is Hitler this week because, you know, Donald Trump, pretty close. Kanye West says he's a Nazi. So, you know, I think that's a pretty good pairing right there.
Might as well throw Elon into the mix.
True. Yeah. Let's talk about him. He's kind of been out of the news recently, which is concerning.
Well, I think he's doing it on purpose because he realized that he messed up his own money stream.
We'll see what he does with the America Party or whatever the hell he's calling it these days. But that's one kind of party. The other kind of party is the party that we have on this podcast.
Every week.
Right. And we always kick off that party by asking each other, what did you watch this past week?
I watched something that's very relevant to this episode this past week. I watched the 1987 film Wall Street, which if you don't know about it, is all pretty much about the stage of capitalism that America was at that point with the whole, you know, the greed is good movement and this idea that it doesn't matter if you do messed up stuff to make more money, that's good. That's the good way of life. Obviously, like, the film kind of takes the approach of like, oh, that's actually not good, but it's showing where the U.S. was at that point, which is very valid now. I feel like that part has not aged at all. It's only gotten kind of more mainstream, sadly. And I feel like it fits in, you know, with the theme of today's episode and with the subject, because, I mean, ironically, me watching on Wall Street was kind of perfect for today's episode. But that being said, I never said if I liked it. It was good. I liked it. I had some quibbles with the ending because it kind of adds in this, like, happy note where I feel like if they hadn't added that in, it would have been stronger. Because there's one moment in the film where the main character, played by Charlie Sheen, by the way, gets arrested. And you're like, oh my God, this is going to end in like a bad note where the bad guy wins. But then they kind of subvert that. In my opinion, if they ended it with him being arrested, the film would have been stronger. The Hollywood ending messed it up. But it was still an interesting film. I would watch it again. And Michael Douglas is so good in that film as the villain. But that being said, what did you listen to this week?
I listened to quite a few things that have nothing to do with anything we're talking about. I listened to a beat tape by Lido or Lido, Lido. He's Norwegian.
Can I ask, what is a beat tape?
So it's like a mixtape, but it's just all beats. It's all instrumental.
Oh.
He's a producer and songwriter. He makes his own music, which one of his albums we have to do on the podcast because I think it's very interesting. This was kind of just a collection. I think it was like 23 minutes of beats that people can rap over. And it was pretty good.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I was impressed. I think he's a great producer, though. And he is pushing hip hop. This is going to sound bad. He's a white Norwegian, but he is pushing hip hop in the direction that it needs to go, which is be more musical instead of like kind of what we had in the super late 2010s, early 2020s, where it was just a bass line and trap drums, and that was it. And that was kind of ushered in by Tay Keith, who I think is a good producer, but unfortunately everybody tries to imitate him and can't do what he does, and then everything just sounds terrible. But I thought that was good. Then I listened to Wow by Between Friends, an American duo, siblings. This was their, I think, second technical album. They've also done some mixtapes, so it kind of gets weird. But I thought it kind of wasn't super great at the beginning, but then it got really good as it went on. First, like 3 songs, I was kind of like, eh, and then it got really impressive. And then I want to shout out Racer by the Australian trio Blusher. They might be my new favorite band. I listened to this EP today, and I was like, this is exactly what pop music should be sounding like. Very good. There is one song I didn't like on it, which, whatever. This was their, I think, second EP ever. So, but there are some bangers on here, and I think it's very well done. And they also produce themselves, so, which is quite cool, because you don't often have a band that can also like do everything. And then, of course, my song of the week is Sleepwalker by Aries and Breakins. Aries, if he releases the album this year, this could very well be the album of the year for me. He is one of my favorite artists. He also collaborates with Breakins, who I have a tattoo of a quote from one of his albums on my arm. So this was a big deal for me, and it's very good. So
has it been a while since he has released music? Or
Aries' last album was in 2021, and then Breakins has not released anything since 2022. He did his tour in 2023 and then fell off the face of the earth, as he always does. So it's pretty cool that he is alive and still making music.
He survived.
Yes, he survived the few years of isolation, maybe.
The few years of crazy that have been going on.
Yes, but it's time to talk about actual crazy.
That's right.
This is Watch the Throne, Jay-Z and Kanye West.
I want to say I did not realize that this was Jay-Z and Kanye West. I thought he just like produced it or something. I didn't realize he was like one of the featured, artists.
Yes, this is a collaborative album between the two of them. Jay-Z and Kanye West have been working together at the time of this release for like 12 years, I think. I think Kanye's first beat that he made that came out was in 2000. So this came out in August 8th, 2011, which is really soon to when we're recording. An anniversary is coming up. 7 singles were released from this album.
Oh my God, that's the whole album.
Yeah, exactly. Only 2 of them preceded its release. Ham in January of 2011 and Otis 2 weeks before the album's release. Ham is not on the standard edition of the album because people didn't like it.
Oh.
And then Jay-Z was like, let's not put it on the album. It's on the deluxe edition instead, but we're only covering the regular album. There is a word in one of the titles here. It is the N-word that I will not be saying.
That both of us will be skipping.
Right. So I will refer to this song as In Paris or Just Paris. After the album, Liftoff was released in late August. Paris and Why I Love You as a double single on September 13th. Gotta Have It in December. And No Church in the Wild in March of 2012. And it was certified quintuple platinum in the US. And in its first week, had 436,000 sales. That is huge.
That's crazy.
Albums these days aren't really doing that much. I think Travis Scott's album, which was huge, and he also cheated because he did merch bundles with it, I think sold like 230 first week, and that was considered good. Kind of crazy. This album is executive produced by Jay-Z, Kanye West, G. Robertson, and Kiambo Hip Hop Joshua. Art direction is by Virgil Abloh, who is a very famous streetwear designer and basically Kanye West's personal friend. I believe he died in 2021. He was young as well. I think he was in his 40s. And a lot of people speculate that's when Kanye started to get really crazy. He also is probably addicted to nitrous oxide, which has not helped.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Only made it worse.
Apparently, he started doing nitrous oxide after his car accident, which was in 2009, but that seems like the timeline doesn't add up for me. But then also he said when he got into a car accident, he had autism from it. So, which is one of my all-time favorite quotes.
Wasn't that how you also got your... No, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to go there.
Engineering was done by Andrew Dawson, Anthony Kilhofer, Brent Colatalo, Ken Lewis. Both Brent and Ken are connections from To Pimp a Butterfly. Noah Goldstein, Pat Thrall, and Pavel Sek. Mixed by Anthony Kilhofer, Blair Wells, Noah Goldstein, LMFAO, and Q-Tip. And mastered by Mike Dean. I got a quote here from Jay-Z about what the album means. It's just protecting the music and the culture. It's people that's in the forefront of the music. Watch the throne, like protect it. You just watch how popular music shifts and how hip-hop basically replaced rock and roll as the youth music. The same thing can happen to hip-hop. It can be replaced by other forms of music. So it's making sure that we put the effort into making the best product so we can contend with all this other music, with dance music that's dominating the charts right now and indie music that's dominating the festivals. I think that's a pretty interesting quote and makes sense for Jay-Z and Kanye West, two of kind of the biggest figures in 21st century hip hop.
Absolutely, especially considering that I know Kanye would write for Jay-Z before, so they have this working relationship already. So it makes sense for them to come together.
And I don't know how much of it was writing. I think most of it that I know is producing, because Kanye West is not usually thought of as that good of a writer. And a lot of his like raps were written by other artists, which is kind of weird, but he is a very good producer and he produced a lot on this album, as we will see. This album was recorded in New York City, Hawaii, Australia, England, Paris, of course. And the reason that I said this, an unknown location in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, in the Prince's Palace maybe or something?
Who knows? Yeah. It was well received. It won Grammys for Otis in Paris and No Church in the Wild. They toured the album on the Watch the Throne tour, and each night they ended by performing in Paris several times, in quotes. In the European leg, they would end the show with Paris and then play it again several times for the encore. And this is one of my all-time favorite pieces of music touring history. During the last day in Paris, the 18th of June, at the Palais Omnisports de Bercy, they set a record by performing Paris 12 times during approximately 1 hour.
Oh my God.
There's a video compilation of this. Every single time they finish it, Kanye West turns to the microphone and says, "Again," and they start playing the song again. They did it for an hour.
Why? What do you get out of that? I don't understand.
We'll talk about it.
12 times?
It took an hour to do that.
Jesus
and the crowd
Christ.
loved it every time. That's the best part.
Yeah.
Last thing before we get into the album is I have a prediction here. I think your favorite song will be Made in America.
Ooh, I will not say anything about that until we get there.
Unless we reach your favorite song beforehand.
That's true.
Track number 1 is No Church in the Wild, featuring Frank Ocean in The Dream. This one was written by 88 Keys, Frank Ocean, Gary Wright, James Brown, Jay-Z, Joseph Malloy Roach, Kanye West, Mike Dean, Phil Manzanera in The Dream, and produced by Kanye West, 88 Keys, and Mike Dean, with additional vocal production by Omos Keith. I don't know if that's how you say his name. Apologies if not. So it samples Don't Tell a Lie About Me and I Won't Tell the Truth About You by James Brown, K-Scope by Phil Manzanera, Sunshine Help Me by Spooky Tooth, Tristessa by Orchestra Nevrudarov. I don't know. I think that's Russian. And Chimpanzee Screeches and Vocalizes by the Hollywood Edge Sound Effects Library. This is our third Hollywood Edge.
It's back.
Back-to-back episodes, too.
I also wonder if AT&T will ever come back.
I hope it does. I really do.
I hope so, too.
This song peaked at number 72 on the Hot 100. It is 3 times platinum, though. Used in The Great Gatsby and what I remember it from, which is a Dodge Dart commercial featuring Tom Brady. Don't know why that stuck in my head, but I always associate that song with the Dodge Dart. I got a few things to say about the song. Jesus was a carpenter, Yeezy laid beats. Cool. Comparing Kanye West to Jesus is interesting because he also has the album Yeezus, which came out after this. He has compared himself to Jesus. He compares himself to everyone great and everyone notorious, I guess, like Hitler, who is not great. I would just like to say that right now. Nazis, not cool. I don't think they're good. Kanye West might think that. I do not think that. This is also going to be separating the art from the artist. No Church in the Wild has a great beat, but unfortunately the lyrics are lacking, especially in Kanye's verse, which kind of, that's always what I've had a problem with him when I listen to his music, is I don't think he's that good of a writer. And that will unfortunately be a theme of the album. And then at the end, we get the first instance of Tristessa, which is that kind of like weird orchestral song that just appears at the end and appears a few times throughout the album. Despite the fact that Kanye West's verse is not good and Jay-Z's verse isn't that great, the beat is crazy. The chorus is really fun. This is a 3.5 for me.
First of all, this wasn't what I expected. It sounded very different to what I expected.
I thought so.
Yeah.
This is a weird song with the other ones on the album.
It is. And it doesn't, I feel like when you hear rap, there is a very stereotypical like idea of it that pops into your head. This like goes in a totally different direction, which I do really like. I love the production on this song. I was surprised by how much I liked this song. It's a 4.
Whoa, we're off to a good start.
I was very surprised because I was just like, oh, I'll probably, like the production a lot in these songs, but I wasn't expecting to like it so much off the bat. I do think that towards the end, it does kind of start to go on for a little too long. I think the end is not the strongest, but I agree that the beat is really, really good, and I do really like the choruses. I also didn't really have a problem with the verses, but maybe that was because I was focusing more on the production. And I think this is a really good opener for the album. Yeah, it's a 4 for me.
This is one of the songs that I knew from the album. I haven't listened to this album in full, but I know weirdly a lot of the songs from it just from like existing in like spaces where Kanye West is kind of God. This is a great album opener, and I think a very interesting song.
And I did want to say, this is not my favorite song. So.
Oh, okay. Now we switch gears entirely to track number 2, Lift Off, featuring Beyonce, who, in case you don't know, which I think you do, Beyonce is Jay-Z's wife. This song is written by Bruno Mars, Jay-Z, Jeff Basker, Kanye West, Mike Dean, Pharrell Williams, and Seal. It is produced by Kanye West, Jeff Basker, and Mike Dean, with co-production by Q-Tip and Pharrell Williams, and additional production by Don Jazzy. It also features additional vocals by Bang Cooley, Don Jazzy, Mr. Hudson, Ricardo Lewis, and Seal himself. And there's only one sample on this song, which is the Apollo 11 launch. This one was released as a single after the album came out in August. It peaked at number 21 on the Bubbling Under Hot 100 chart. So it didn't even make the regular Hot 100 in the US, and it was basically a failure. Just like Biggie's album, I'm doing something fun on this one where I count something that happens. And Kanye West likes to make one very specific noise. Ha. And he does it a lot. This is the first one on the album.
I also want to say the moment I heard Bruno Mars, I thought to myself, Brandon will not like this song because I know you don't like Bruno Mars.
You are correct.
Yep.
Earth is boring to him. Shit is making my dick soft. That was the line I took from this. I said this song is pretty long and pretty much does nothing and goes nowhere. Neither rapper has a good or memorable verse. The chorus is lacking. Beyonce's vocals sound bad. The production is relatively boring, and I do not care about this. This is a 2. It could be lower.
I do think it's a big step down from No Church in the Wild. I wasn't expecting Beyonce, and I think they kind of wasted her in the song. I don't hate it. I think it just isn't nearly as strong as No Church in the Wild. It's still okay. Like, if I hear it, I'm not going to, like, get mad or something. I'm just going to be like, okay.
I will.
You will. I didn't want to say I think the muted vocals at the end of the song are the best part of it. And maybe that saved a little and pushed it up to 3 for me.
Track number 3 is what we've all been waiting for. Paris. Written by Hit Boy, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Mike Dean, and Reverend W.A. Donaldson. Produced by Hit Boy, Kanye West, and Mike Dean, with additional production by Anthony Kilhofer. It samples Baptizing Scene by Reverend W.A. Donaldson and dialogue from the 2007 film Blades of Glory, spoken by Will Ferrell and John Heder, or Hader, I don't know how to say his name.
I knew that was Will Ferrell. I knew it.
The main lead of this song is also a sample. It's a synth loop by Big Fish Audio, which I did not know. I just learned that. This song peaked at number 5 on the Hot 100. It is a certified diamond. Oh. This is a hit. NME, which is a music journal, says this is the 81st best song of all time.
Wow.
It also has the second most spins on Rhythmic Radio in the 2010s, the decade, second most spins of the decade on Rhythmic Radio.
That's crazy.
I got quite a few things to say about this one. We're going to skate to one song and one song only. One of the best openings to a song. Besides that being the opening from Will Ferrell, the first line, "Ball so hard, motherfuckers want to find me," is one of the best opening lines to a verse ever. Ball so hard being repeated throughout each verse is so smart. They knew what they had with that line.
They knew they had our ball so hard in their hand.
Exactly.
Song.
That shit cray. Then I also have What She Order, Fish Fillet. That might be Kanye West's best line on the entire album. That is when I think of Kanye West lyrics, that's one of the first ones I think of because it is so funny.
Yeah.
And it's perfect. It fits perfectly.
It's perfect.
Doctors say I'm the illest because I'm suffering from realness. So true. Me too. The censored version that they'd play on the radio would say, got my doctors in Paris, which I thought was quite funny. Sure. And after that, he says, ha. That's our second ha.
We're going to hear that a lot.
This beat is probably top 5 in the history of rap music. And I am definitely in my zone. This is a 4.5. This is my favorite song on the album. This is an all-time song.
That's really high. Honestly, higher than I would have thought.
I love this. It's so good.
I gotta say, first of all, I knew it was Will Ferrell. I wrote it down. I was like, that has to be Will Ferrell, but from where? And I haven't seen Blades of Glory, but I kind of want to watch it now just because of the song.
I saw the sample, like, as it appears in the scene.
Yeah.
And you can just tell. It's one of those things where it's like, oh my God, they're going to say it. And then they do, because everything just like sounds exactly how it does in the song. And I love that.
I have heard the song. It's impossible like not to have heard the song. It's iconic, obviously. Yeah, I think it's very fun. It is very unhinged, but in a good way in terms of its lyrics. It's very, very fun. It's not as strong for me as, my favorite songs in this album, but it's very close. It is at a 3.5 still though, but it's close to a 4, I will say.
Track number 4 is Otis featuring Otis Redding, written by Audio 2, Kirk and Nat Robinson, who were sampled on the last album we did. Harry Woods, James Brown, Jay-Z, Jimmy Campbell, Joseph Malloy Roach, Kanye West, and Reg Connolly. And this one is solely produced by Kanye West. It samples All I Need by Jay-Z, Don't Tell a Lie About Me, ... by James Brown, Top Billin' by Audio 2, and Try a Little Tenderness by Otis Redding, which is where we get the feature from. This is from Wikipedia. On July 20th, Otis was premiered on Funkmaster Flex's Hot 97 radio show. It took 22 minutes to get through, as Flex restarted the song 25 times, or roughly every 53 seconds. Flex said, as he promoted the song, "New York City, you listen to me. If you're near a convenience store right now, any type of 24-hour store, go into the store right now and put your hand in the cash register for no reason. Their money is your money as of right now." This song is certified 3 times platinum, and it reached number 12 on the Hot 100. I invented swag. You hear that, Justin Bieber? And interestingly enough, Justin Bieber did rap over it on Power 106.
That's perfect.
This is the first line that I think is of the great foreshadowing lines in this album. This is by Kanye West. I made Jesus walk, so I'm never going to hell. Okay.
Yep.
Great song, by the way. This is our third ha. The beat is quite fun, but it can get a little overpowering at some points, I think. I originally had this one at a 3, but I've been meaning to change it to a 3.5, so I think I will.
I gotta say, first of all, again, it's very different. And I was surprised by just how, different all the songs are to each other. That being said, this song did not work for me at all. To me, it felt like the sample track and the rap didn't work together. I felt like they didn't flow together very well, to the point that I gave it a 2. I believe this is my lowest ranked song in the whole album.
Track number 5, Gotta Have It. Written by Fred Wesley, James Brown, Jay-Z, Joseph Malloy Roach, Kanye West, Pharrell Williams, and Tony Pinkney. Produced by The Neptunes, which is Pharrell Williams' production group, with co-production by Kanye West. And it features additional vocals by Kid Cudi. It samples Don't Tell a Lie About Me by James Brown, which appears many times on this album. I'm a Greedy Man by James Brown, My Thang by James Brown, People Get Up and Drive Your Funky Soul remix by James Brown, and 2 loops by the Heart of Asia Spectrasonics, and they're called Indalap 44 and 45. I just wanted to include that because Indalap is funny, and it's spelled Indalaap, all one word. This song reached number 69 on the Hot 100 and is certified platinum. The first verse of this is exactly what I want in a collaboration. I think this might be the second best beat of the album. Also, they say Bed-Stuy in here, which is Biggie's Neighborhood. So pretty good connection right there. This song is a 4. I like it.
I don't have much to say, but I did like the backing music. I guess you could say the sample and just the general like background production. But honestly, this song, just like Otis, didn't really click for me, even though it was a step up, in my opinion. The song is a 2.5. It just didn't really click with me.
Yeah, I also was expecting this album to be a lot more consistent for you, even though the songs are very different. I was expecting you to be a little bit more like, it's fine. We've had a high already.
And I feel like the fact that the songs are so different is what makes my scores kind of fluctuate a lot. Because I will say they did fluctuate quite a bit in this specific album. So
track number 6 is New Day, written by Anthony Newley, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Leslie Brickuse, Mike Dean, and RZA. Produced by RZA, Kanye West, and Mike Dean, with additional production by Ken Lewis. It samples Feeling Good by Nina Simone, and once again, Tristessa by Orchestra Nievudarov. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We're not French.
That's not French. That's Eastern European.
Sorry, we're not Eastern European.
No, you might have a little bit more of a claim than me, though.
I'm Eastern European.
Anyway, we have some more foreshadowing on this song.
Oh, God.
This is a lyric. And I'll never let my son have an ego. He'll be nice to everyone wherever we go. I mean, I might even make him be a Republican, so everybody knows he loves white people. Getting a little bit too close there, Kanye, being a Republican.
Pull it back a little, please.
Yeah. For me, this song is good, but it is ruined by who Kanye became. And I think if I would have discovered this song, like in the time it came out, it might be a little bit more impactful to me. But finding out what it is like after we kind of know, not necessarily how the story ends, because I think he'll keep getting worse, but where he goes, it ruins it a little bit. But I do think that Jay-Z's verse still holds up. And then I also think the sample of Nina Simone is actually pretty good. And it's like surprisingly introspective for how this album is and their personalities. This one is a 3 for me. It's still good, but it just doesn't hit the same.
I want to start off by saying that I really love the sample. I've always loved Feeling Good by Nina Simone. So I do want to throw that out there. I also want to say that this song is a really interesting mix of genres. And I did say that that's something that I really want to give to the album, like give kudos to the album for. I think that, at least for me, when an album, mixes different genres of rap as kind of the connecting tissue between those genres, that really works well for me. And even though in this specific song it wasn't the most memorable, I think throughout the album you do see that, and that is, what makes me like certain songs a lot, because those genres work for me and the way that they kind of mix with the rap worked for me. Ultimately, I actually agree with your score. I give this a 3-2 because I think it just isn't the most memorable. Again, I wasn't really paying attention to the lyrics because that's not really what I do. So I didn't really notice the fact that he was foreshadowing, who he is now. So that didn't necessarily sway my score. But that definitely adds another reason to give it a 3 now, instead of the fact that it just didn't click as much for me. And I will say I'm continuing my upward trajectory to 2.5, 3.
Track number 7 is That's My Bitch. Written by Bobby Bird, James Brown, Jay-Z, Jeff Basker, Jeremiah Lorden, Justin Vernon, Kanye West, Q-Tip, and Ronald Lenoff. Produced by Q-Tip and Kanye West, with additional production by Jeff Basker. It samples Apache by Incredible Bongo Band, Get Up, Get Into It, Get Involved by James Brown, Telephone Girl by Asagai, I don't know how you say that, and There It Is by James Brown. Now, you may have noticed a name in there that you've heard before. That name is Justin Vernon of Bon Iver.
Oh.
He and Kanye West collaborated quite a bit on the album previous to this, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and then Justin Vernon was also involved in the album following this, Yeezus.
Wow, that's really interesting.
The chorus is sung by Ellie Jackson of the band LaRue, who had one hit in 2009, which is quite good, Bulletproof. And Connie Mitchell also sings the chorus. The bridge is sung by Charlie Wilson and Justin Vernon.
That's really interesting. I saw that he had worked with Kanye when I was kind of looking into him for our episode that we did on his album, 22 Million. But I didn't realize that he worked on the song.
That was my surprise for you. I got a line from this song. I paid for them titties, get your own, which is surprisingly relevant to the movie.
Very relevant to the movie.
We get our fourth ha in here. Another great beat on this song, and an all-around interesting and high-energy song that is nothing like what I expected from the album. This one is a 4.
Nice.
For me. I enjoyed this one a lot. And then, before you say anything, did you catch our first ever Armenia reference in the material?
What?
Larry Gagosian is an Armenian-American art dealer from Los Angeles that Jay-Z name drops in his verse.
I didn't even realize.
Boom. Armenia mentioned from me.
For the first time. Yeah, no, I didn't mention because I would have written that down in my notes, to be honest. I guess Jay-Z referenced him because I was going to ask if Kanye West was married to Kim Kardashian at this point. Or not.
Don't believe so, but I think they were dating, if I remember correctly.
I also did want to say, this connects to my real life. My dad, who works as a grip, is actually on set with the Kardashian family today, and I feel really bad for him because he has to be on set with them. Anyways, they're fake Armenians, so moving on.
Yeah, so this is a 4 for me. What did you think?
So I thought that this song did a very good job with its use of the background vocals and tracks. I really liked the way they used it in this song. I honestly didn't have much to say, but I like it. It's a 3.5. It worked for me. Wasn't the strongest, but it still worked for me. I kind of did a full little arc going from 2 to 2.5 to 3 to 3.5. So yeah, it works. I like this song.
Track number 8 is Welcome to the Jungle, written by Jay-Z, Kanye West, Mike Dean, and Swizz Beatz, and produced by Swizz Beatz. And it features additional vocals by Swizz Beatz and a cappella soul. This song only samples Tristessa by Orchestra, unpronounceable Eastern European name. There are only a few notes that I have about this song. Black Axl Rose, which is a reference to Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. Sometimes I look to the sky, ask why I was born. I said, okay, Biggie.
Yeah, legitimately.
And I said that Jay-Z raps well, but the beat feels off and not good. This is a 2.5.
Yeah, I felt like this wasn't as memorable as a lot of the other songs on the album. It was fine. It just isn't anything special, to be honest. It was a 3 for me. Not much to say either.
That's about it. But I do have a few things to say about track number 9, Who Gon' Stop Me? Written by Flux Pavilion, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Maurice Verse Simmons, Mike Dean, and Sac Passe, I believe is how you say his name. Produced by Sac Passe Passe. P-A-S-E-H is how I have the thing written to say it. So,
Passe?
Sure.
Passe?
So produced by him and Kanye West.
You just gotta be careful not to make it sound like pussy.
You can say that word, yeah.
Well, I mean, keep it PG, even though we said the F word a bunch of times, probably.
We talked about Nazis already. Anyway, so it's produced by those two with additional production by Mike Dean, and it features additional vocals by Mr. Hudson, Swizz Beatz, and Verse Simmons. And it samples I Can't Stop by Flux Pavilion, which is a dubstep song that I listened to around this time. It peaked at number 44 on the Hot 100, despite not being a single, which I thought was pretty interesting.
That is really interesting.
Now, I think you know what I'm going to bring up with this song. This is something like the Holocaust.
Yep, I wrote down that note too.
Also, I have another bonus line for you. Heard Yeezy was racist.
I mean...
Yep, he is.
Weren't wrong.
This song has the 5th through 14th ha. I can't do it as good as him. It just sounds wrong. Ha. Ha.
Jesus Christ.
I wrote it down as H-A-A-H.
Ha ha. Yeah, no, I can't do it either.
Half of this song is completely worthless except for Jay-Z's last verse. This is easily the worst song on the album. This is a 1.5. I hate this so much.
Yeah, I didn't really like this song either. This is a 2.5 for me, pretty low. I will say this is the type of song where I was listening to it and I was already kind of checking out. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to give this 2.5 because I don't like this. Also, I literally did write down mention of the Holocaust because...
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-oh is right.
Yeah. Anywhere where Kanye is involved and mentions the Holocaust, you know that's not going to end well. Just not a very good song.
No. Track number 10, Murder to Excellence. Written by Bill Summers, Kafis Semenya, Harvey Mason Jr., the Indigo Twins, who are Mihaela and Gabriella Modorchea. I don't know if that's how you say it. Jay-Z, Joel Rosenbaum, Kanye West, Kid Cudi, Quincy Jones, S1, and Swizz Beatz, and produced by Swizz Beatz and S1, features additional vocals by Kid Cudi. Now, I got two little notes about the people who wrote this song. Harvey Mason Jr. is the president of the Recording Academy, aka the Grammys.
What?
Yeah, he wrote this song. He was a songwriter and producer before, because like that's how it works. I just forget about
that makes sense.
Yeah, the president of the WGA like writes movies. Like, yeah, no shit they do, but like for some reason I just forget about it. So
exactly. It feels weird because you're like, oh, that's different being a president versus a writer or a songwriter.
Yeah.
You know, it just like doesn't mix in your mind.
Exactly. And then S1 produced The Louvre on Melodrama.
Oh.
So that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
It samples Kaylee Shave / Mr. Scarification by Quincy Jones. Katu Toka Corinne by Quincy Jones. These are from The Color.
I feel bad for you today.
Yeah,
Brandon.
The Color Purple, the movie.
Oh.
Soundtrack they sampled, which I believe Biggie also sampled because he sampled Quincy Jones, and I think it's also from The Color Purple. It also samples La 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 by the Indigo Twins. That's easier to say.
Yeah.
The Sorcerer of Isis, The Ritual of the Mole by The Power of Zeus.
Oh my God.
And then just because I can, I'm going to say that this song was used in the trailer for Black Adam, which I just think is a funny movie just to exist in general.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Shout out Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Shout out
Dwayne Johnson and shout out The Rock separately.
Yeah, exactly.
This song is split in two parts, Murder and Excellence. Murder has better lyrics but a worse beat, and Excellence is the reverse of that, in my opinion. I think Kanye's chorus leaves a lot to be desired, but the verses deal with real topics and are actually like pretty well written. I wrote down shout out Biggie again. I don't really know what that was in reference to, but maybe this was the song where Jay-Z actually like mentioned him by name. I think that was.
I think so, yeah.
And then I have another laugh out loud line from Kanye. In the past, if you picture events like a black tie, what's the last thing you expect to see? Black guys. That's just a great line.
You got to give it to him.
Yeah, you know, he gets it done sometimes. This song is a 2.5 though, because ultimately it's fine. It just isn't that great.
So,
is this your favorite?
This is my favorite song on the whole album. Yes.
Nice.
I love the production of this song. That's really what carried it and made it my favorite song in the whole album, particularly the music in the background, which I'm not 100% because I haven't heard like the samples outside of this song, so I don't know which sample it is or.
That is La 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 by the Indigo Twins mostly, is the first beat, is like almost entirely that.
That specific sample in the background in the overall production of the song really worked for me because I actually don't really like the second half of this album the song that well. I feel like it weakens the overall song. The first half is the part that I really, really love. To the point that if it was just the first half, it would be a 4.5, but with the second, it's a 4. So yeah, that's why it is still ultimately a 4. So it's the same score that I gave to No Church in the Wild, but if it hadn't had like that second part that weekend for me, it would be a 4.5.
Shout out to President of the Recording Academy, Harvey Mason Jr., for making a good song.
He did a really good job.
Track number 11, Made in America, which I said would be your favorite, features Frank Ocean. It's written by Frank Ocean, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Mike Dean, and Sak Passe. I'm going to just say that again. Produced by Sak Passe. Sure. with additional production by Mike Dean and additional vocal production by Omos Keith. South Park had them all laughing. That's a great line to take out of context. Even in context, it isn't that good. It's just weird. I said Jay-Z is actually a good rapper. I don't know why I said it under this song, but sometimes I forget.
You realize it now. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I forget that he is actually good, and he is.
He's talented.
I, however, do not like the beat, and I don't like Frank Ocean's vocals or the chorus. I wrote, "Oh, sweet baby Jesus, I do not like this song." This is a 2. It could go lower.
Can I ask you, did you say this was my favorite because 1, you didn't like it, and 2, it sounds kind of gospely in the beginning?
Yes, but not because I didn't like it, because it was my second least favorite song on the album, which has been my strategy.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that strategy. Yeah, this was solid. It was fine. I just didn't think it was that memorable. I thought it was kind of just eh. It's a 3. It's not a terrible song, but it's also not anything special, not anything really interesting to me. So there we go.
I figured your least favorite song would be Who Gon' Stop Me, because that was mine, and I kind of
Right.
I figured like we would agree that it's not a good song.
It was close. You were pretty much on track there. Like it was maybe right after Otis, although I would have to listen to it back to back with Gotta Have It to see which one would be my least favorite.
Track number 12, the final song on the album, Why I Love You, featuring Mr. Hudson. This is written by Cassius, which is a French electronic duo that consists of Philippe Serboneschi and Hubert Blanc-Francois.
Wow, that was really good.
Sure.
You got that one then. I think you did.
As well as Jay-Z, Kanye West, Mary Sawyer, Mike Dean, and Tony Camillo. And it's produced by Mike Dean and Kanye West. And it samples I Heart You So by Cassius, which is where the chorus comes from, but it's actually sung by Mr. Hudson. I wrote down that this is kind of a good song about Roy Cohn and Donald Trump.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It fits in with the movie.
And this is the 15th and 16th ha of the album, our final one. So we got to 16, which is pretty good. That's better than any of the Lexuses or Rolexes from Biggie's album.
Yeah.
I think this song has a great final verse where they trade words by the end of it. They're not only like trading bars, they're like going fully into words.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't really seen that in rap before.
And I think this is a great end to the album. This is a 3.5. I thought it ended on a high note.
In the beginning, it almost feels like a rock pop song, which does make me surprised that you didn't say that this was my favorite, or to guess that it was my favorite.
That's a good point.
I like the idea of mixing a rock pop song with rap, and I feel like it was partially successful here, but I don't think it was fully successful because I think the constant, like the amount of noise in the background becomes too overpowering at some point. It becomes too much, which resulted in me giving it a 3. I still think it's like a fun song. I don't hate it, but I feel like it just didn't fully mesh together. So yeah, that's my score for the last song.
This album is very all over the place, way more than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Which I guess I should have guessed by knowing the songs that I know off of it, but I just thought it'd be like kind of like put together a little bit more. Overall for the album, I think there's obviously good chemistry between the two of them. They've been working together forever. There are some really good beats and only a few that are just like not good on here. But ultimately, I am not sure what this album is supposed to tell me or make me feel. It feels more like a compilation than a real like record. I did enjoy it. So some of the scores are going to be higher than Biggie's album, but because Biggie's album felt like an album and this feels just like a collection of stuff happening, it will be lower. So this is a 3. I still did enjoy it, but this is not really like an album in my opinion. But there are some good moments on it, and I will be listening to quite a few of these songs again, surprisingly. And I will feel guilty about it every time I press play on a Kanye West song.
I agree completely with that. To me, it did kind of feel like a top 10 album that was made out of Kanye and Jay-Z's work, you know? But the difference being that like a solid 5 or 6 of those songs were just not good, you know? I still think that there's a lot of good songs in this album. There's a lot of songs that are really fun and enjoyable that kind of like, I guess, leverage out the songs that just don't work for me. And yeah, they leave it at a 3. I think it's very fun. It doesn't like, it's not very cohesive. At the same time, I feel like it doesn't really try to be. It's just trying to have fun. I'll give it kudos for that. Obviously, I don't think it works as well as the Biggie album because I feel like that one had a lot more weight to it, and it did have this like cohesive narrative that helped it. So that's why this is ultimately a 3. It's still a fun time though.
Nice. We are in agreement on the score of this album,
Yeah.
as we were with Biggie's album, which I find very interesting.
We're on a little run.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm more of a like seasoned hip hop fan, and you're just kind of like learning about it now. But we still have
I'm a newbie.
Yeah, we still have a lot of the same like ideas. We don't have the same thoughts about the songs though, which I find very interesting, especially on this album.
I know. It was it's interesting how our ideas on the songs can be so different, but we still come to the same conclusion about the album. So
which I guess means it's a good album. It's good at doing like what it did because we were both able to find something completely different from it that we really liked.
it will give everything what they're looking for.
Would you recommend people listen to this album? And will you be listening to some of the songs again?
I will definitely be listening to Murder to Excellence, maybe just pausing it when it gets to the part that I don't care for. And yeah, I would say give it a listen, see what you find, see what songs you enjoy. You can find something fun in the fact that Paris was saying 12 times in Paris.
And I regularly quote again. Just saying that, nobody knows what it means. It's just one word. But in my head, I'm thinking Kanye West on stage in Paris saying, we're doing the song again.
Exactly. And now I know what you mean when you yell that out in a room.
And before we get into the movie, I want to say one last thing, which is you might feel bad about listening to Kanye West's music. Good. You should. I also feel bad about it. The thing that I always like to think about is Pete Davidson on Weekend Update on SNL had a thing where he talked about how you listen to or like consume art that's done by bad people. You just say, fuck you, insert blank, or something to that like of saying like, you suck as a person. You made something good. I'm going to listen to it, but you suck. And you just kind of put that energy out saying, fuck you, Kanye West. You're a Nazi. I hate you, And I don't feel bad saying that because I hate Nazis. So
yeah, and I agree with that.
But with that, let's talk about a different Nazi that is also relevant in the 2010s and 2020s, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, The Apprentice, not to be confused with the show that he, I think, created and was a host of.
I don't think he created it, but he was the host of, presenter.
I guess, yeah, he can't create stuff. He isn't smart enough for that. But anyway, as usual, let's start with the IMDb logline. And I'm really interested to hear what you think of this. A young man takes over his father's real estate business in 1970s and 80s New York and gets the helping hand of an infamous closeted gay lawyer who helps him turn this young man into a notorious legend based on true events.
Does it say young man and it doesn't say Donald Trump ever?
Yes.
That's weird.
Isn't it weird? I think that they were just like, okay, people will not watch this film if they know who it's actually about, which of course, like that goes out the window because it's Trump.
Yeah, as soon as you see the poster as well. Like
it genuinely feels like they're trying to hide it. And then at the end, they're like, oh, wait, no, we can't fully hide it. So we have to say based on true events.
That's a weird.
So it's weird.
Very weird logline.
Yeah. I don't know what was going on with that, but that is a logline.
I guess it kind of works because that is like the story, but like, I don't know.
Yeah. But it also, I feel like, the story is about less, taking over and more about creating this person.
That's true.
And I feel like it doesn't get that across that much. But hey, it is what it is. The Apprentice is an independent biographical drama film directed by Ali Abbasi and produced by, and we have a little connection to the album beyond the fact that Nazis are involved. Just as there were a lot of writers for most of the songs, there are a lot of producers for this film. The film was produced by Ali Abbasi. Also, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Apologize. Louis Tisney, Ruth Tracy, or Treacy. It's Treacy. Sorry, Ruth. Julianne Ford, Jacob Jarrick, and Daniel Beckerman. So a total of 6 producers. It's written by Gabriel Sherman. Cinematography by Casper Tuxen, edited by, and I apologize again, as in case you guys have noticed, it's a lot of difficult names to pronounce. Edited by Olivier Boucote and Olivia Neergaard-Holm. I'm sorry, I have no idea. Music by Martin Durkov, I believe, starring Sebastian Stan, Jeremy Strong. Hell yeah, Succession. I have to throw that out there. Maria Bakalova, Martin Donovan, amongst others.
Do you want to shout out the countries that this was a co-production between and how many studios are at the beginning of this? There's like 15.
I will shout out the countries. The countries, this is a co-production between Canada, Denmark, Ireland, the United States. A total of 4 countries. But there were a total of 9 production companies involved with this film. Now, we won't really talk about most of them just because there was a lot of like shifting behind the scenes, and a lot of it, honestly, hasn't been reported on. I've like included what I could find, but a lot of it kind of, it's not been reported on, so I can't really speak to why there were so many or how that came about. But we will kind of talk about the difficulties that this film had when it comes to being released. Now, the story of this film starts with Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign.
As does a lot of the fall of the American empire.
As does just the fall of Kanye West, too, I think you could kind of say. Gabriel Sherman, who, along with being an author, is or was, I'm not sure if he still is, but he definitely was a reporter and might still be. He was covering the campaign when he came up with the idea of the film. As he has said, quote, one of the things that people who had known him, that's Donald Trump, since the 1980s, like Roger Stone, would tell me is he's winning because he's using the lessons that Roy Cohn taught him. Then early into the Trump presidency, it came to me. Donald is using Roy's lessons. Roy created Donald. That's the movie. That will explain this current reality we're living in, end quote. Now, when it comes to the factuality of the film, I thought it was important to, Sherman has said, quote, what I would say is that the film is rigorously researched. I did as much research and reporting to write the screenplay as I have done for any journalism I've done. That said, it is a work of art. It's not a documentary. It's not journalism. It's based on real events. And every major turning point in the film is documented by real events, end quote. I wanted to throw that out there. For anyone that might wonder how factual this is, it seems like it is. That being said, obviously, it still is not a documentary. Things were maybe embellished or brought down a little bit because it is still a work of art, a work of fiction. So yes, Gabriel Sherman went on to write the film, and in 2022, Sebastian Stan came on board to play Trump. He prepared for the role by listening to tapes of Trump in his youth, or I guess you could say in the age he was during the 70s and 80s. And he worked to kind of mimic his mouth movements. He also ate a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and Coke to kind of fatten himself up. When the film did get suspended during filming briefly, and this is a part of its crazy production, it did get suspended, I guess. I couldn't find any more information on that. But when the film did get suspended, he had to switch from trying to get fatter to bulking up for his role as Bucky in Thunderbolts, which actually came out like last month. So he had to quickly switch over, only for that film to get delayed by the 2023 writers and actors strike. So pretty much he was going back and forth between like bulking up and getting fat. Now, finding a director proved to be quite difficult. Some directors were offered the role, such as Paul Thomas Anderson and Clint Eastwood, but they turned it down because they viewed it as a business risk, which I think is understandable, considering the way that the MAGA people are prone to react, especially considering that Clint Eastwood, for instance, is a Republican, although I don't think that means that he necessarily supports Trump. I'm just throwing that out there. But finally, Ali Abbasi came on board in October of 2023. Filming began in November of the same year and ended in January. Now, I couldn't find much information about filming. As I said before, when it comes to, Sebastian Stan's work for the role, it seems like filming was paused for a period. I don't know if that was because they ran out of funds and had to go to more, production studios, which is why there are so many. I'm not sure. It seemed to maybe have been a tumultuous filming, maybe not, but it did pause in any case. What was definitely tumultuous was getting this film released, because after the film had finished wrapping already, businessman and Trump supporter Daniel Snyder pulled out of the film. Now, you might wonder, why would he back the film?
Also, real quick, Dan Snyder, former owner of the Washington Commanders football team, known rapist.
Oh, yes. He is a horrible person.
Just throwing that out there.
Thank you for throwing that out there. He is a horrible person. But you might think, why would he back this film that is not taking maybe the most positive angle on Trump? And that was because just did not realize the film was maybe not like gonna make Trump look like the best person. He was like, oh, a film about Trump, I'm gonna support it. And so he did.
Besides being a known rapist, he's also a known idiot.
Exactly. And probably why he didn't realize what the film was going to be about. So he pulled out in September of 2024 after he saw a rough cut and became furious. This, of course, made releasing the film difficult. They had to find a distributor, which wasn't really easy to find because, people didn't want to become involved for fear of legal action for Trump, which his then chief campaign spokesperson, Stephen Chung, this was, of course, during the 2024 campaign cycle, Stephen Chung had outright stated that they would bring lawsuits to stop the film from being released. So, a lot of distributors did not want to get involved.
Also, I want to ask you real quick, have you seen a picture of Stephen Chung before?
No.
He looks like one of the most evil people in the history of the universe. He's right up there with Stephen Miller as one of the scariest looking people ever.
I have to look him up.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He looks like a caricature
of an evil person.
Yes, of like a despot or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that's
absolutely
crazy.
Insane. Highly recommend anyone listening to this look up Stephen Chung right now, Cheung.
Turns out he is the White House communications director.
Good.
But yeah, so because of this, finding a distributor was very difficult. Abbasi has also said that Netflix turned the film down because they didn't want to upset their MAGA viewers, which turns out is a large part of their subscriber base. They even set up a Kickstarter to get the film into theaters, but finally, Rich Spirit, an independent company created by James Shawnee, decided to back the film, and they partnered with Briarcliff Entertainment to release the film on October 11th, 2024. So those are two of the films you see, two of the production companies you see at the beginning out of like a bajillion. And Abbasi has said that the fact that the film came out a month before the 2024 election was merely a coincidence. They didn't plan for, the delays. So it wasn't in any way planned to derail any sort of campaign or anything like that. Now, the film premiered first at the 2024 Cannes Film Festival before releasing in October. And it grossed $17.3 million worldwide on a budget of $16 million. Which, for those of you who might remember, as I've said before, due to Hollywood accounting, it's generally considered that a film needs to gross 2.5 times its budget. So yes, this film wasn't particularly successful at the box office, although I think it could be argued that that wasn't why it was made.
Yeah, in a weird way, it was not. Yeah.
It did receive positive reviews with particular acclaim for the actors, especially for Jeremy Strong as Roy Cohn, as Roger Stone, who was an associate of both Cohn and Trump's, has said in a tweet, quote, "I knew Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn was a friend of mine. As much as I hate to say it, this guy deserves an Oscar," end quote.
Also, another fun thing is look up a picture of Roger Stone. He looks like an evil Monopoly man. Like he has like the little glasses and he's got like a little top hat. Especially from the first administration, he is weird looking.
Yes. Well, it's ironic that you should say what he looked like because he actually also added to that tweet by saying, quote, "I am, however, much better looking than the guy they had playing me," end quote.
Yeah, that guy in the movie, like he played the character of Roger Stone as a gay man. So I will say that.
We will say that. Some reviewers did criticize the film for maybe being on the more simpler side, even as they commended it for taking a more realistic approach versus going into caricature or parody. As you can see on, SNL or other such sketch shows or YouTube skits or something like that. Now, Donald Trump, of course, only had harsh words for the film, in spite of the fact that Abbasi offered to screen the film for him, saying that he would probably like it. I also did want to note that he also said that realistic films about the threat of fascism are important to be made. So I am kind of getting mixed signals from him, but
based on from those like collections of quotes, it sounds like he believes that Trump can be quote unquote saved from being like this evil
kind of
Nazi dictator that he is, but which
something I don't believe. Yes. Trump called the film, quote, a cheap, defamatory, and politically disgusting hack job, end quote. And those involved, quote, human scum, end quote.
Oh, human scum. That's pretty good.
Yes, that's pretty good. It could have been worse, to be honest. Now, the film received 2 nominations at the 97th Academy Awards. One for Best Actor for Sebastian Stan, and the other for Best Supporting Actor for Jeremy Strong. They did end up going home empty-handed, though, which brings me to a question, because I remember when the first images in the trailer came out for this film, everyone was talking about Stan's performance as Trump and if he did a good job. So I wanted to first ask you, before we get into what you thought, what did you think of Stan's performance as Trump?
Maybe the best performance I've ever seen of somebody trying to be Trump. I was one of the, not a hater, I doubted him. I doubted the casting. I saw Sebastian Stan. I thought he's too beautiful to play Donald Trump. They did a good job with makeup, but ultimately, what he contributed carry the entire film, I think. And I know that you will talk a lot about Jeremy Strong, who I think also deserves a ton of praise, because I know that's your baby boy. But I thought that Sebastian Stan was so good in this, and you can watch, I think also some of that comes with the script too. You can watch him kind of turn into Trump in real time, but you can still see that he is him in the beginning. Like, it is so well done.
I completely agree. And I mean, I love Jeremy Strong. I think he gives a fantastic performance, and I will speak to that. Like, I will speak about his performance more, but I agree that Sebastian Stan ultimately carries the film with his performance. And something that I did love about his performance is how through time, through the film, as it goes like closer and closer to today, you can see those kind of famous Trump mannerisms come out little by little, but it feels so natural that it doesn't feel like out of place, or it doesn't feel as though he's doing a caricature. And even in the beginning, like you said, when he doesn't have those mannerisms yet, he still feels like Trump, like a young Trump. I think that people were wrong. He was, I think, the perfect choice for the role. Now I would love to hear, what did you think? What did you think of the film?
I mean, that's kind of the main thing I thought, is that Sebastian Stan carried this and pretty much elevated this into anything, like into something better than it could have been without him, his involvement. Like, obviously the script was good. I liked this movie, but like, you needed to get an actor that could sell that character. And that was the perfect choice. I also, since you didn't say a ton about Jeremy Strong, I thought he was great. He is so method. It's scary sometimes. Normally, he's a good looking guy. He looks average. He looked like he was ready to kill every moment of this film. Like, the look in his eyes, he looked like he was going to like jump out of the screen and like hold me at gunpoint. I don't know. It was fucked up, and that was really good.
I completely agree with that. For those of you who don't know, I am a big fan of Succession. I love that show. That's literally how me and my girlfriend first bonded when we first met. So that speaks to how much I think we both like it. Now, I will say my favorite character was always Tom. It wasn't Ken. You know, that being said, it's not like I don't like Jeremy Strong or his performance in the show. He is fantastic. But it feels impossible to me that the same person played Roy Cohn in this film, because it is so different. Now, I love Kieran Culkin, but I do feel like he should have won Best Supporting Actor for this film, because it is so wild. That being said, I think that Sebastian Stan deserved more, praise for his performance too, because it is genuinely, I'm going to say it is genuinely amazing. And this film, watching it, made me want to watch everything that he is going to be in, with the exception of Marvel, because I just don't care about that. And I've seen him in Marvel films, and I'm just like, okay, I've seen it. I get it.
I've heard he's hot in Marvel, though.
Yeah. It's got a metal arm. That counts for something, I guess.
That's true.
I did want to say, it's interesting that you brought up the fact that it feels like Abbasi feels like Trump could still be saved, because that was honestly my main issue with the film. Watching it, it felt like the approach to presenting Trump kind of felt like it didn't show, kind of the moral decay to a level that I think is there. I feel like the fact that he thinks that Trump can still be saved means that he feels like he hasn't decayed, or he didn't decay that much at that point, which to me, I disagree with.
I do want to push back a little bit because this film does not take us up to the present day.
That is true.
I think since becoming president the first time, Trump has decayed a lot more than where he was before. And especially since losing in 2020, he is now he's gone full evil.
I do agree.
My biggest problem with the movie is the start of it, because he's humanized a little bit too much. I get that we have to do that.
I also agree with that.
To make you kind of root for the character in a weird way, to follow him on the journey. So I understand why they did that, but I think they humanized him a little bit too much, because he is a Nazi. Let's be real,
Well, I completely agree that they did humanize him too much. And I do feel like they also did maybe humanize Roy Cohn a little too much too. Although, obviously not every person is just black or white.
Yeah, I guess I disagree a little bit more with the Roy Cohn. I don't think he was humanized much, because I think Jeremy Strong played such an unlikable character that it was oh my God.
No, I know. I think he did bring out the unlikableness out of it. I feel like maybe the script just did a little more with the ending, kind of.
That's true.
I do think that he did bring out, he helped by bringing out all this unlikableness and just showed you how terrible this person is. I agree with Trump though about the fact that he was kind of made to be more likable in the beginning. And I fully accept that this might just be my personal feeling, but I do feel like it didn't go far enough with showing just how not demented, by how far his morals were just gone by the end of the film. I will say yes, that is, colored by my own opinions. So take that with a grain of salt. And I do think that did maybe bring the film down for me a little more. That being said, first of all, the look of the film, which I think is really, really good. I love how it feels very 70s and 80s. I adore the look of the film. And the performances, which again are, in my opinion, mind-blowing, those two things still made me like this film. And it is one that I'm interested in revisiting. So it did put it at a 3.5 on the strength of those elements.
We have to shout out Maria Bakalova, I think is how you say her name. She did an amazing job too. And I know that we're overshadowed by the two leads, I guess. She was also really good.
Especially considering that she wasn't given as much just because she's not in the film as much. Yeah, she does a really good job too. I think that she honestly is going to become very well known as a character actress.
Isn't she in Marvel now too?
She might be. I'm not sure, to be honest. She was. I'm just saying that based off the other film I've seen her in, which is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Oh yeah.
She plays a very different character, and she plays it very well. I think that she's kind of gonna go along with kind of the Florence Pughs and the Saoirse Ronans and being like this very well-respected actress of this generation. So yes, I'm happy that you shouted her out because I do think she's really good in this film and I think she will continue to do great work. But yeah, I did want to ask, what did you give this film?
Well, before I rate it, I want to say one thing. I like that this film didn't go up to the present and showing even more of his decay, because I think that is something that we don't necessarily need to see in the film. If you're watching this film, first of all, you're probably not a Republican. And second of all, you're probably using your brain and thinking. Anyway, I think that when this movie ends, I was comfortable with the place it was left in, because it's like, this is who he was for how many ever years it was. He is already ruthless. He's already evil. He already sucks and no one likes him. You can tell. And that's just who he was. That's who he was when he was on The Apprentice, the show. And then once he became president, he got even worse because he had more power, and it's all about the power. So I don't take issue with that. I do take issue with the fact that he is humanized in the beginning, which, whatever. But then once again, like you said, it is a work of fiction. This isn't it isn't real life, So
it might be based off of real life, and they might have tried to keep it true to that as much as possible, but it is fiction at the end of the day. Yeah.
I did also want to say shout out to the Pritzker family, the owners of the Hyatt hotels, who I believe, nephew of the character who appears in the film is J.B. Pritzker, who is the governor of Illinois and who is a billionaire who is super progressive. So shout out to him. Big fan. And this is a 3.5 for me.
Ooh, we're in agreement with both the album and the movie.
I think it's different because for me, a 3.5 is higher, obviously.
That's true. That is true.
I was pleasantly surprised with this. I had low expectations because when I had initially said this film, you were kind of like, yeah. And you weren't like super excited about it. So I thought you had already like known that it wasn't good. So I kind of went in thinking, oh, this might not be that good. But I was pleasantly surprised. Also, I feel like this should have been a bigger hit. And maybe not necessarily because of the subject matter or because of, and this kind of goes into what you were saying where it's like, did they want to make money with it?
Yeah, I feel like they were going for more of a prestige film. Also, speaking to should have been more of a hit, I think it was hit by two factors. One, Republicans were obviously never going to go watch the movie. And two, the rest of the country had by that point, and like continuing on to today, has just been sick and tired of Donald Trump. I think those two factors hit it because that means that you don't have any audience, kind of, you know? That's like both sides.
Which is unfortunate, and I get it. But I do think that this film should be watched because of the performances in it, because these are generational performances by like amazing actors that I will be following for probably the rest of their careers.
Yes, I completely agree. And I feel like they weren't lauded enough.
Absolutely, yeah. There's movies where an actor is really good in it and the rest of the movie is just kind of boring. This is one where I feel like the movie is good, but then it gets elevated so much by these actors that you kind of like care about it more. And it's weird because it was treated like the former.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it felt like it was treated more as like, this is a bad movie with good actors in it. And I don't think that's the case. I think this is a good movie with great actors in it. Yeah. So this is a 3.5. I enjoyed it. I do want to watch it again at some point, not like soon or anything, but you know, they talk about a lot of people, Rupert Murdoch in there, who is still alive and is currently feuding with Trump as the owner of the Wall Street Journal, just reporting on the Jeffrey Epstein files. So, yeah, we just got a whole like bunch of names of just great people in this episode, you know.
People in the news right now.
Yeah, I'm sad I didn't get to bring up R. Kelly again this episode. But before we end, I want to say one last quote, which I think sums up both of these works. It is from a propaganda poster from 1945. And it says, "The only good Nazi is a dead Nazi." And that is how I feel about these two men portrayed.
Hell yeah, I completely agree. And everyone else should agree, in my book.
And with that, that's our episode, guys. On a happier note, I guess. Talking about death. Where can the people find us?
You can find us on our Instagram, where we announce what next week's episode is going to be. So you want to follow. There is also LinkedIn, or not LinkedIn.
Whoa.
There is no LinkedIn. There is a, what's that called? The Linktree. There's a Linktree where you can find us on Letterboxd, on Instagram. We're also on TikTok now. You can follow us there to watch us do little fun games where we guess the top 7 songs and movies for different years.
I don't know why you were so confused by 7.
Something just confused me. I mixed up 10 and 7 for some reason. And Brandon, where can they email us? Because I've got the email down by now, so we got to test you.
That's true. upcpod@gmail.com, baby.
That's right. So email us your thoughts, whatever they may be. And please don't forget, leave us a review, leave us a like somewhere, a heart if you want to.
And email us any of your thoughts you may have on the current state of America. So, yeah.
To make us even more depressed.
Exactly. But with that, we will see you next week.